Ever feel like you're just like swimming in other people's emotions? Like all the time.
Oh, tell me about it.
If so, you might be an empath and, well, you're definitely in the right place.
Absolutely.
Today's deep dive is all about mastering the art of setting boundaries, I guess.
Yeah.
Especially with, that whole empath thing you've got going on.
Yeah.
We're diving into, what is it? Mastering Guilt for Healthy Emotional Boundaries
That's the one.
by Melanie Smith. And let me tell you, this book
It's packed.
is packed with good stuff,
Yeah.
actionable advice.
It really is. And it's especially crucial, I think, for empaths because, let's be honest, you're basically like walking around with an open door policy for emotions.
That's true.
Melanie, she brilliantly describes this as being like emotional Wi-Fi,
Okay, hold on.
picking up on everyone's signals.
I love that. Emotional Wi-Fi. Okay, but why are boundaries even more important for empaths?
Right.
Don't we all need them?
We do. We absolutely do. But for empaths, it's not just about saying, no.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that your emotional Wi-Fi needs a password.
Oh.
You can't connect with everyone, on the same level
Right.
without feeling totally drained.
So it's like what? Different levels of access?
Mhm.
Just like, you wouldn't share your deepest, darkest secrets to
That'd be
everyone.
nice.
Exactly.
Melanie uses this like really relatable example in the book about these two sisters, right?
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
Leslie and Tracy.
Okay.
And Tracy's like constantly venting about work,
Right.
which, starts to really impact Leslie's well-being.
Right.
And it just highlights how, like, even in close relationships, you need those healthy boundaries.
Totally. It's so easy to get caught up in, wanting to support the people that we care about,
Yes.
but constantly absorbing like all their stress. It's
not good.
not sustainable at all. And that's where the guilt comes in,
Ugh.
which Melanie calls an emotional tornado.
That is so accurate.
Right.
Because it can just feel so overwhelming, right?
Yeah.
Especially like for empaths who are already so sensitive to those, shifts in emotions.
Totally. So how do we even begin to untangle that mess of guilt,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to, actually setting boundaries with people?
Well, Melanie breaks it down, I think, really well into like 3 major challenges
Okay.
that often just hit us like all at once.
Challenges? Okay.
Yeah.
Like what? Give me the lowdown here.
First, there's figuring out if the guilt is actually yours.
Oh.
Are you feeling guilty because of something you believe? Or is it someone else like projecting their expectations
Onto you.
onto you?
Ooh, that's a good point.
Huh.
Yeah, sometimes it's so hard to tell where like our emotions end
Yeah,
and someone else's begin,
it's true.
especially for us empaths, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what's next? What's the next challenge?
The second challenge is, and this is a big one, accepting the discomfort of guilt.
Right.
Because, like, even when we know logically in our heads,
Yeah.
we need boundaries.
Right.
That doesn't mean it feels good
No.
to actually set them.
Ugh, tell me about it. Guilt is like, it's a powerful, powerful emotion,
Oh, yeah.
but we can't let it like paralyze us.
Right.
Okay, third challenge, what is it?
This one's huge. It's logically understanding, like in your brain,
Yeah.
why boundaries are essential for your well-being.
Right.
Not just for the other person, but for you.
Yeah.
It's about you and recognizing your own needs and limits.
It's like putting on your own oxygen mask first on an airplane, right?
Yes.
It can't save anyone else if you're like passed out on the ground.
Exactly. And that's where that self-compassion comes in.
Oh, yeah.
Which, like, Melanie emphasizes this throughout the entire book.
Right.
She even suggests keeping a notebook specifically.
Ooh, I love notebooks.
Feel your emotions.
For my emotions. Okay.
Not for your to-do list,
Oh, yeah.
but for processing, journaling, doodling, even stickers.
Okay. Stickers, I'm in.
Whatever helps you, like, untangle those feelings.
Okay, I am so here for the sticker idea.
Right.
But how do we actually, like, figure out where that pesky guilt is coming from?
Okay, so Melanie, she provides these, like, 3 powerful questions
Think questions.
to guide your reflection.
Oh, okay.
She encourages you to consider, like, is this guilt coming from past relationships?
Oh, maybe we were taught that saying no is bad.
Exactly. Or if it challenges, your image of yourself as a giver.
Which is, like, a lot of empaths.
Huge. A lot of empaths struggle with that.
It's true. A lot of empaths, like, they're natural caregivers.
Absolutely.
All right, what's the third question?
The third question is is the guilt connected to something that the other person has actually said or implied? Like, are they subtly guilt tripping you? You know?
Those sneaky guilt trips, it's like
They're the worst.
it can be so hard to spot them in the moment.
It really can. And to make it even more relatable, Melanie shares a story, a personal story about she was feeling guilty setting boundaries with friends who were going through a really tough time.
Even she feels guilty sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that makes me feel so much better.
Right. It just shows that we're all human.
Yeah.
And boundaries can be, like, challenging for anyone.
Totally.
But understanding the source of your guilt, that's the first step towards, like, actually addressing it.
That makes sense.
Okay.
It's like, you know, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Right.
Boundaries are how we, like, refill our own cups so we can actually be there for the people we care about.
Absolutely.
But let's be real.
Okay.
Knowing we need boundaries and actually setting them.
Yeah.
Those are two very different things.
So true. It can feel, like, impossible sometimes.
Right.
Especially for empaths, you know? It's like they're wired to put everyone else first.
Exactly. So how do we actually, like, navigate those conversations with people?
Right.
Because, let's be honest, telling someone no can be.
Oh, it's the worst.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Especially when that guilt starts creeping in.
Yes. Melanie, she offers some, I think, really practical advice on this.
Okay.
She really emphasizes, like, clear but compassionate communication.
Okay.
Like, she suggests using I statements.
Oh, right. I statements.
To express your needs without, you know, pointing.
Yeah, I've heard of I statements.
Yeah.
But how do they actually work when we're talking about boundaries?
Okay, so instead of saying, like, you're always dumping your problems on me.
Right.
Which, let's be honest, that just makes people defensive.
Totally.
You could try something like, I feel overwhelmed when I hear about your work stress every single day. I want to support you, but I also need to protect my own energy.
Oh.
We see the difference.
Yeah. Like, you're owning your own feelings.
Yes.
And setting those limits, but you're doing it with empathy, you know?
Exactly. And don't forget to be, like, really specific about what you need. It's not enough to just say, like, I need more space.
Right. Because what does that even mean, you know?
Exactly.
Going back to, like, Melanie's example with Leslie and Tracy, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just saying, like, I can't talk about work all the time.
Yeah.
Leslie can say, hey, you know, I'm happy to chat about work for 15 minutes on Saturday mornings.
Right.
But I need to, like, you know, protect my evenings for myself.
Exactly. My way, Tracy knows exactly what Leslie needs.
Right. It's clear.
And what she can offer.
Okay, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
But what about those times? And we've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
When someone tries to, like, guilt trip you into crossing your own boundaries.
The worst.
Like, they say things like, well, if you were really my friend, you would do this. Or, I thought I could count on you.
Yeah.
Like, those guilt hooks get me every time.
Oh, they're brutal. Especially for empath.
I know. It's like they know exactly where to, like, poke and prod to make us cave.
They do. It's like a superpower.
So how do we handle those situations, like, without getting sucked into an argument?
Right.
Or feeling like we have to, like, justify our boundaries to them?
You don't. And Melanie's advice here is gold. Don't engage.
Oh.
Just, like, calmly and consistently reiterate your boundary.
Okay.
It might feel repetitive.
Right.
But it's about holding firm to what you need, even when it's uncomfortable.
So it's like, you know, having a broken record player.
Yes.
Just gently repeating the same message over and over again.
Exactly. Until it finally sinks in. You could say something like, I understand you're feeling frustrated, but I've already explained, you know, my limits on this. I care about you, but I'm not going to change my mind.
It's like saying, I hear you, but
yes,
this is where I stand and I'm not budging.
Exactly. And remember, it is okay to disengage from the conversation. If someone just refuses to respect your boundaries.
You mean like walk away?
Yes.
Even if it's like a close friend or a family member?
Yes. Wow. Even then, you are allowed to protect your energy.
Wow.
And your own emotional well-being. And sometimes creating that, like, physical distance is actually the best way to reinforce that boundary.
Okay.
And really send a clear message that, hey, I'm serious about taking care of myself.
That's a good point. Sometimes, like, we need to put ourselves first, even if, you know, it means maybe disappointing someone else.
It's true.
But this all sounds like, you know, it's ongoing work.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like we set a boundary once.
Right.
And then, poof, problem solved.
Right. Setting boundaries, it's a journey, not a destination.
I like it.
It's all about learning and adjusting and
Right.
sometimes stumbling along the way.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
So it's not about like being perfect at boundaries. It's more about just being willing to, I don't know, learn and adapt as we go.
Exactly. Think of it like learning a new language or something.
Okay.
It takes time and practice. And honestly, you're going to make mistakes along the way.
Oh, yeah.
But the more you use those like boundary muscles,
Boundary
the
muscles.
stronger they get.
I like that. Okay, so how do we know then, like, when it's actually time to adjust our boundaries with someone?
Right.
Are there, like, signs we should be looking out for?
Totally. One of the biggest ones, that like feeling of resentment. You know that feeling? Right?
Here we go again.
Yes, exactly. If you're constantly feeling like drained or taken advantage of, or just like your needs aren't being met, it might be time to like revisit those boundaries.
It's almost like our emotions are like giving us this feedback.
Yes.
But we have to actually like be open to listening. You know?
Exactly. And that's where I think those notebooks that Melanie talks about.
Oh, yeah, the notebooks.
They're so helpful.
Yeah.
Even just like journaling for a few minutes each day can help you like tune into those little cues and notice if any patterns are popping up.
So we're not just like setting these boundaries and then forgetting about them.
Right.
It's more like an ongoing conversation, kind of, with ourselves and with the people that, you know, we're setting them with.
Yes. And remember, setting boundaries, it is an act of self-love.
It is. It's true.
And it's one of the greatest gifts that you can give yourself.
So true.
Especially as an empath. It lets you embrace like that sensitive side of yourself.
Yeah.
As a strength.
Right, which it is.
Without feeling, you know, totally overwhelmed by everything and everyone.
This has been, like, seriously, such an eye-opening conversation.
So important.
So as we're, you know, wrapping up our little deep dive here into mastering this whole guilt thing.
Right.
For healthy boundaries, what's, like, the one thing that you really hope our listener takes away from today?
That guilt, even though it feels awful,
Oh, it does.
it can actually be like a really powerful teacher.
Oh.
It's often a sign that like something needs to change.
Okay.
And by actually listening to it, you can start creating a life that's, you know, more fulfilling, more authentic.
Yes.
More you.
Love it. It's about like reclaiming your power. Yeah. Honoring those needs that you have and just like showing up in the world.
Yes.
As your most genuine self.
Beautifully said. And remember, setting boundaries, it's not about like shutting everyone out, you know?
Right.
It's about creating the space for those like deeper, more meaningful connections.
With yourself and with other people.
Exactly.
It's about learning to like surf those emotional waves, you know?
Yes.
With confidence and grace.
I love that.
Knowing that you have the power.
Yeah.
You know?
You do.
To create those boundaries, to create those healthy relationships without having to like sacrifice yourself.
And remember, you are not alone in this.
Right.
Like we all struggle with boundaries.
Oh, yeah.
And that's okay.
It's part of being human.
Exactly.
What matters is that we, you know, keep learning and keep growing.
Yeah.
And keep showing up.
Yes.
For ourselves with compassion and courage.
Beautifully said.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into emotional boundaries. Yeah. And remember, as you're out there navigating the world with your awesome empath heart.
Yes.
You have the power to create a life that feels, you know, aligned and authentic.
You do.
And full of love.
Yes.
Until next time, be kind to yourself.
Yes.
And honor your boundaries.